Hi folks, and welcome to another episode. Today we're going to be talking about residential water heaters. First, we're going to break this down. This is going to be an easy peasy maintenance video that anybody can do with basic hand tools and things like that to increase the efficiency and the life of your water heater. In the next video, we're going to be talking about advanced stuff that even increase it even more. But today we're just going to focus on the easy stuff that anyone can do, okay? So first thing you're going to need is going to be either a flathead screwdriver or you're going to need a 1/4-inch nut driver.
What did you say? Nuts!
The other thing you're going to want to need is a wire brush, either steel or you could also use a brass wire brush as well. And lastly, my favorite, you're going to need a multimeter, preferably one that checks voltage and resistance, okay? So first things first, before we do anything, we always want to make sure that the power's off. So I'm going to go over to my panel. I'm going to find where it says what we call the panel schedule, where it lists where everything's connected. I'm going to find the one that says water heater. I'm going to go ahead and shut that breaker off. Typically, it should have 2 breaker spaces, not just one. I'm going to shut that off. Then I'm going to come over here. I'm going to open up my panel. To save time, I went ahead and got them all off. But as I'm kind of going through, I'll show you what they look like as I kind of went through with the removal process. But very straightforward. So the first thing we want to do is we want to make sure the power is off because we don't want to fry ourselves. So I'm going to take it and bring my multimeter and I'm going to put it over to voltage. I'm going to go as high as possible, and that's where my power is coming in. And it's going to be the 2 top silver screws. I'm going to read it. It's going to, yep, we got 0 volts. That means it's safe and good to go. Then I'm going to take my other lead. I'm going to put it onto the green wire, the green screw that's on the bottom here. And I'm going to check with the other lead on that first silver screw, still have 0. And I'm going to come across to the next screw, read that one. Yep, it's 0. Okay, so we know 100% that the power is off, okay? The next thing we're going to do is we're going to check what they call the electrodes. The electrodes is this circular thing with 2 screws down here, and you have one at the bottom as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that multimeter again. Now that we know the power is off, we have to make sure the power is off before we perform this test. I'm going to move the dial over to ohms, which is it looks like a Greek letter. That is to measure the resistance. Okay, we want to know how much resistance or how much is the electricity being resisted to go through that electrode, because those electrodes are what allows to heat up the water once electricity is flowing through them, which allows us to heat up the water and provide us with the comfort of having hot water. So I'm going to turn it over to ohms, and then there's 2 screws there on that electrode. I'm going to connect those 2 leads, and perfect, you got 0. If I have any more, say 5, 10, 15 ohms of resistance on those electrodes, you're going to want to go ahead and drain your water heater, just like it says and how to in your owner's manual. And you can pick these up at Home Depot or Lowe's or whatever, and just swap that out. Don't wait for these to fail. They will let you know that they're starting to fail well before that, and by doing this tiny little bit of maintenance, which is super simple and easy to do, you'll be able to not find yourself coming home from work to go take that shower and there's no hot water, okay?
Oh, that water's cold!
The very next thing I'm going to talk about, which is going to be the last thing I'm going to talk about, is going to be how to set the temperature that's on there. If you've never done this before, it's very, very simple to do. When I first bought this house, my kids, my wife were kind of complaining that the water was like too hot when they went over to the entire hot side. So I immediately knew what the issue more than likely was. So I came down here, took a look at it, and on the inside of your on your contactor, which is the top rectangular piece on both the top and the bottom of your water heater, it has a thermostat. Make sure that thermostat is between 115 to 120 degrees Fahrenheit. If it's more than that, it's going to drive up your power bill, and it's also going to make the water too hot, which does bring that risk of scalding people, especially if the guests come over and they don't realize that you don't bring the handle all the way over to the hot. They turn the shower on all the way over to hot, and they put their hand in. Next thing you know, they're burning their hands. So
I'm melting! I'm melting!
make sure it's between 120 to about 115 degrees. If it's not good enough for you and you want it a little bit warmer because you love those super hot showers that I know some of you like, small, tiny little increments. And you can do that because on the inside, especially on mine, it's a white piece of plastic with an arrow, and the arrow tells me exactly what that temperature is set to. But make small, tiny increments until you can dial it in. Don't want to go too low, because if you live up north like I do, that can cause some issues with risk of freezing your pipes and your walls during the winter. So obviously you don't want to go too low. I know down south that's not too much of an issue, but understand that a lot of your pipes and things could also go through the ceiling, and during the hot months it could also heat up because of the thermal load that the sun is bringing in. Long story short, stick with that 115 to 120 degree range, and you bring that risk of scalding down, and you also bring down your power bill. And right now, anything we could do to save a few cents on our power bill is probably the best things that we can do to save a few cents on every single dollar. Okay, so that pretty much brings up everything except for the last one, which is going to be something that people don't normally think about, which is going to be checking out or using your wire brush on your pieces of copper that's going into and out of your water heater. If you have any type of corrosion that's built up on any of your valves or anything like that, it's usually like a whitish or a green color due to the patina on the copper. Take your wire brush and wire brush that stuff off. Another reason why you want to do this, outside of just appearance wise, or because you don't want it to cause any more corrosion to the copper, is also because this, with it being clean, that shows you if you have any kind of leaks that are within your system. If you have any type of leaks, you're not easily going to be able to see it if you have corrosion on your copper. So by cleaning it off, it's easier to see the water that's coming through. And if you have those leaks, highly recommend calling up a plumber. More than likely, you're going to need to sweat these pipes off and resolder some stuff on, or replace any type of valves that you may have. And again, that's not typically very expensive work. They can come in and do that within preferably 30 minutes to an hour to take care of those issues. So that's pretty much everything on the basic side of the house and what you need. Once you've done all this maintenance, go ahead and close all your covers back up, head back over to your breaker box, turn your breakers back on, wait about an hour, 2 hours, I would say 2 hours, to get this back up to temperature, and then you'll be good to go. Okay, folks, so that's pretty much everything, and I'm looking forward to seeing you guys in the next video where we talk about more advanced things that you can do. Although advanced, still can easily be done with hand tools and with a little bit of knowledge. So, see you guys in the next video. Access cover, and you have a bottom access cover. And I'm going to test it, and I'm going to make sure, yeah, I'm reading 0 volts. Okay, so now I know it's de-energized. You never explain to turn the breaker off.